that I welcome this kind of examination because people have got to know whether or not their president's a crook. Well, I'm not a crook.
One strip of duct tape, that's all it was, stuck over a door latch in a dim basement stairwell. To Frank Wills, working the graveyard shift at Washington, D.C.'s Watergate complex on June 17, 1972, it was a minor irritation, probably kids playing a prank. He peeled it off, continued his rounds, and thought nothing more of it. But history was coiled in that sticky residue. An hour later, when he found the same door retaped, instinct screamed, this wasn't random. This was calculated, professional. In that split second, a 24-year-old security guard making $80 a week, less than $600 in today's money, became the unwitting tripwire for the biggest political scandal in American history. His next decision didn't just catch burglars, it unraveled a presidency. Ask yourself, how many of us, in his worn shoes, would have shrugged and walked away? Frank Wills wasn't supposed to be a hero. Born in Savannah, Georgia in 1948, raised by a single mother after his parents split, he dropped out of high school in the 11th grade. He clawed for stability, Job Corps for his GED, a grueling Ford assembly line job in Detroit he lost to asthma, then low-wage hotel work in D.C. before landing at Watergate. The complex was considered safe. Guards carried only mace. The Democratic National Committee's offices, just another suite on his patrol route. For a year, only one attempted burglary, routine boredom. Then came 1:30 a.m. on June 17th, that first piece of tape. Then the second. His training, sparse as it was, kicked in. Call the police. Not the FBI, not the Secret Service, the local 2nd Precinct. He didn't know he was dialing the number that would echo through history. Wills led the DC cops through the silent, carpeted halls. Elevators cut, doors locked, floor by floor, office by office. When they flipped the lights in the DNC headquarters, 5 men in business suits froze. Bernard Barker, Virgilio Gonzalez, Eugenio Martinez, James McCord Jr., Frank Sturgis. Wiretapping equipment glinted in their hands. Cameras aimed at desks. These weren't petty thieves. They were operatives hired by the President of the United States. Will's handwritten log entry at 1:47 a.m. became Exhibit A. Tape found on basement-level door. Police notified. Cold, factual, unshakable. While Nixon's men dismissed it as a third-rate burglary, Wills's testimony was the first thread pulled in a tapestry of lies. His $80 a week vigilance exposed a criminal conspiracy at the heart of American power. What reward does a system give the man who holds it accountable? For Frank Wills, scraps. A raise of $2.50 a week, barely $19 today. He asked for a promotion, denied. He quit, expecting opportunity. Instead, doors slammed shut. Howard University feared hiring him would cost them federal funding. A Georgetown security job vanished quickly. Talk show invites, and a brief role playing himself in the blockbuster film All the President's Men paid little and derailed minimum wage jobs. Media opportunities kept me away from work, he confessed. The reporters he enabled, Woodward and Bernstein, became household names, won Pulitzers, lived in comfort. Wills? Everybody tells me I'm some kind of hero, he said bitterly, but I certainly don't have any hard evidence. I did what I was hired to do, but still, I feel a lot of folk don't want to give me credit. The hypocrisy was staggering. America loved his story, but hated paying his bills. By the 1980s, the hero narrative had curdled into cruel reality. Wills moved to North Augusta, South Carolina, to care for his aging mother after her stroke. They survived solely on her $450 monthly Social Security check, a brutal existence. The pressure broke him. In 1979, a $20 shoplifting conviction. In 1983, stealing a pair of sneakers landed him a year in prison. When his mother died in 1993, the man who changed American history was so destitute, he donated her body to medical science. He couldn't afford a burial. The NAACP, recognizing the grotesque injustice, gave him a truck, a pitiful monument to a life sacrificed for truth. Imagine the humiliation. The watchman who guarded democracy couldn't guard his own mother's grave. When reporters tracked him down on the 20th anniversary in 1992, asking if he'd do it again, his answer was a raw indictment. That's like asking me if I'd rather be white than black. It was just a part of destiny. No romanticism, no patriotic gloss, just the weary acknowledgement of of a man used by forces beyond his control. He understood his role wasn't celebrated, it was contained. "I put my life on the line," he insisted. "I went out of my way. If it wasn't for me, Woodward and Bernstein would not have known anything about Watergate. This wasn't finding a dollar under a couch somewhere. His truth was inconvenient. Heroes aren't supposed to demand payment. Heroes are supposed to be silent and grateful." The establishment offered symbolic crumbs, a dedication on a Harry Nilsson album, an award from the Democratic National Committee, whose chairman mumbled platitudes about his unique role in the history of the nation. Hollywood loved his story, reenacting his discovery in Forrest Gump, She Hate Me, The Post, Gaslit, White House Plumbers. They immortalized the tape, not the man. The most piercing epitaph came not from Hollywood, but Congressman James Mann during Nixon's impeachment vote in 1974. "If there is no accountability, another president will feel free to do as he chooses. But the next time there may be no watchman in the night." Mann understood the stakes. Wills was that watchman, and America made sure the next Frank Wills would think twice. Frank Wills died in 2000 at 52. A brain tumor. No fanfare, no state funeral. Initially buried in an unmarked grave in Augusta, Georgia, the final brutal metaphor for a life erased. Only later did donors pay for a marker. Think about that trajectory, from exposing a president to vanishing beneath the dirt, unnamed. His legacy isn't just Watergate, it's a warning. Systems protect themselves. They consume those who challenge them and spit out the bones. They build statues only to heroes who fit the narrative, not to the Frank Wills of the world, who remind the powerful that their walls have cracks, and sometimes the watchman is watching. So what do we owe Frank Wills? More than plaques or late-coming headstones. We owe him honesty. His story isn't inspirational, it's cautionary. It reveals the brutal cost of holding power accountable when you lack power yourself. It asks us, who do we truly value? The architects of corruption or the janitors of truth? The next time you hear about a whistleblower crushed by bureaucracy, a security guard ignored, a low-wage worker who sees something wrong, remember Frank Wills. Remember the duct tape. Remember the $2.50 raise. Remember the unmarked grave. History isn't made by the comfortable. It's unmasked by the overlooked. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more guard guides, and be safe.